Hello everyone, welcome to ProAV. Thank you very much for joining us. This is a incredibly casual stream. We decided to do this about an hour ago, full disclosure. So we've got nothing prepped. I've got Ben kindly volunteered to come on and join me and actually be on camera as well as just mixing. So thank you, Ben, for the moral support.
That's what I'm here for, man.
And obviously, you know, we've just flipped one of these peaches heads around to point at Ben. So even the camera angles are slightly wonky and all the rest of it. So please forgive our setup. The reason we wanted to do this is that the last 24 hours for this industry have been insane.
Explosive.
Like, obviously, we've got IBC round the corner. So this was always going to be a very busy week. Yeah. But I think this could have been some of the biggest 24 hours of my career so far.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
Everything's happened.
Everything.
So, should we start with a really rough roundup of what we're talking about? We can't cover everything.
Yeah, of course.
The big hitters.
The big hitters.
The big hitters are obviously the two big camera launches. So we had the Canon C50 and the Nikon ZR, which hopefully people watching this have seen the videos on. I'll go through some of what was being said in the comments and all the rest of it. This is very much, by the way, a discussion with you guys. Please do join in the thing. Craziness, Sky London says, absolutely. Join in while we're going and so that we can have a bit of conversation backwards and forwards. I want to hear what you all think of these two cameras because they are so similar. I've actually got the C50 in front of me. This is the C50. I'm borrowing it to shoot our IBC coverage later on in the week. This is not the ZR. This is the Z6 Mark III. I don't have the ZR just yet. It was only launched this morning. But obviously we have used them both and hopefully you've already watched our videos. And we'll get on our thoughts on them in a minute.
Yeah.
The other things which people might not be expecting us to talk about, Apple had a big event yesterday, which is obviously more your warehouse than mine, right?
Definitely up my street in terms of just what that industry is, but it's a knock-on effect on what affects us in terms of post-production as well.
Two massive things.
Yep.
The first one, how long have we been waiting for ProRes RAW support to come to DaVinci Resolve? It's been the pettiest, longest, most drawn-out
thing
and damaging for the industry. Yeah. Lack of support, and it is finally over. The new version of Resolve launched today supports ProRes RAW. Finally, the whole industry breathes a sigh of relief.
20.2. The point updates have been really good recently. Almost feels like a whole number upgrade, and I think it's part of the knock-on effect. The new iPhones, the Pro and the Pro Max, support ProRes RAW. It's the same for a smartphone. And it's the Blackmagic app that's actually helping with the acquisition of it. So I'm thinking, you know, for them to not have that support in their NLE would have made no sense.
There's clearly been a lot of talk between Blackmagic and Apple recently. I mean, they've obviously worked together on the Apple Vision Pro and the Blackmagic Ursa Cine Immersive. That's obviously an incredibly tight collaboration between the two of them.
Time.
But there's other things trickling off that, like the Blackmagic RAW camera app. The Blackmagic camera app for iPhone, and now ProRes RAW being supported in it, and ProRes RAW being supported in Resolve as a result of it. And weirdly, ProRes RAW being put onto, well, the video assist isn't that weird, but the Pocket Cinema camera 4K, which is like a 6-7-year-old camera, gets ProRes RAW now.
It's just like, it's one of those where you can have it. Just all of a sudden, just since what, the original Ninja 5 that was really pushing that codec would have been what, 2018? It's been a while. It's been a long time coming to see that kind of like democratization and support. So yes, and I even say it for us, testing. Sometimes we want to test certain codecs, which is ProRes RAW from a certain camera,
100%.
And we kind of can't because our NLE doesn't support it.
Well, we can, but obviously we've got to go into other things. We've got to go into Final Cut or anything like that, or Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
We use DaVinci Resolve very happily as our primary editing station, and it can do everything else we ask of it. Apart from if there's a camera where ProRes RAW is part of the narrative, like we're reviewing an Atomos recorder or we're reviewing Lumix. We ran into this recently with the S1 Mark II.
Doing, internal recording with ProRes RAW. Yeah, it's true. And even Nikon, you know, alongside their end RAW codec, which supports the workflow in DaVinci Resolve, ProRes RAW didn't. So if we just out of curiosity wanted to know playback support, not necessarily image quality, but playback support, we couldn't.
Or just compare the image quality.
Yeah.
Take Nikons, for example. If we wanted to just go, okay, which one looks better, ProRes RAW or Nikon RAW?
Yeah.
It would be a faff to do.
Would.
Now
Absolutely
it's much easier.
Much easier. So
it's going to make our lives better.
Much better. Much better.
Sky London says, are we in the RAW video era? Yes.
Feels like it, actually.
I think we now are.
Yeah.
We've got the new Nikon and Red collaboration with R3D files.
Yeah.
On Canon side, we've got Canon RAW, which is accepted in basically everything. Edits not quite as good as Blackmagic RAW and ProRes RAW, but perfectly fine. You can do an entire project on that, no problem. It does slow down the export a little bit compared to some of the other files. Same thing with Nikon RAW. ProRes RAW now being adopted into that. There's kind of the reasons to not shoot RAW are disappearing one by one.
And that's what we want. I mean, it's the power of these cameras have become so good that the internal processing to allow that helps. One, there's less bureaucracy in terms of gatekeeping, licensing stuff. And then media, CF Express Type B. That's where the magic is right now.
Yeah, because it can do the raw data rates.
It can handle the data rates, and it's a compact media.
What we need to see, though, is more brands taking the approach of that Red and Blackmagic have taken.
Yeah.
Where, interestingly, Red don't do it in the new Nikon camera, but on their other cameras, the actual Red cameras, they do, where you can scale the RAW right back when you need to.
Yes.
So Blackmagic, fantastic list with Blackmagic RAW. You can take the Ursa Cine 17K, right, and throttle it right back, but still keeping 12-bit RAW when you need it, which is absolutely fantastic. And that isn't the case in ProRes RAW. It isn't the case in Canon RAW, Nikon RAW, any of those others.
Yeah, I think by principle, that is one of the reasons why I love what Blackmagic are doing with, or have been doing with Blackmagic RAW.
Yep.
I think it would be nice to see updates to the videos assist just to really benefit from that.
Yep.
You know, the cameras that support that external recording acquisition, that would be great.
I'd love to see a more modern video assist. The video assist still stands up. It's still a very useful tool.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see something that feels a little bit fresher with CF Express support on it. Slightly thinner bezels, you know, a little bit more of an updated design and a bit of love. It's been a couple of years since the video assist. I think that would have a real impact.
The media with external storage is important because CF Express Type B is just a way. It's just a way forward. What is it? A10 G2 ISO.
Yep.
That's got it.
Yep.
You know, all these cameras have got it. You know, the ZR's got it.
It's becoming the de facto.
It's the de facto. It has to be. For enablement already, that's the way. So, fingers crossed. Let's wait and see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Scotty says, selling a C70 to grab the new FX. Whoops. Selling a C70 to grab the new C50. Love the images. You did a great video on it. Plus, my C400 is going to get open gate. Sweet. Ooh. Yes. So that was the big surprise with this.
Yes.
Now, we obviously knew that this camera was coming a little bit ahead of everyone else with the embargo. So we did know that OpenGate was coming in it.
Yeah.
So we made almost coincidentally the opinion piece.
Yeah.
But knowing about this was on my radar anyway to make, and I sort of bumped it up a little bit in the queue, knowing that this was around the corner. And also not just this, the Fujifilm Eterna is all about OpenGate recording because that's such a tall sensor. The S1 Mark II and the S1R Mark II on Lumix massively embracing OpenGate.
And the updates that they had to them to really improve the OpenGate
Yeah, they've just got better and better already. And they're still such new cameras.
Yep.
So that opinion piece that we put out on the channel was sort of laying the seeds for some of this in the industry, because this feels like the next big shift.
Yeah, it is.
And so it was definitely the surprise here with the C50 that Canon were adopting it as readily as they were. It still makes me laugh how many people were commenting on that video saying that Canon will never do it. And I made sure to include the good luck with the old parts from Canon in our review, perhaps a little cheekily.
I loved it.
It was just brilliant to know that
it's a shift.
Those days are gone.
It's
Canon are adopting technology like they've never been adopting technology before. Like Canon are really pumping their cameras full at the moment.
It's a genuinely good paradigm shift. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Like that I always talk about that generational leap in not just specs and like, you know, performance, but usability as well. You know, because, you know, content consumption has just changed now. Like before we even get into the AI things, just how people consume it in different ways, you know, it has changed. And that's what we want to see. So the user and user, you've got the options to tap into it when you need. It's not, oh, I'm going to shoot OpenGate all the time. I mean, you can do that as well. But when you need to, you can tap into it.
I'm in love with this idea that the pro video industry would move to having a taller aspect ratio as our master imaging format.
Yes.
And just by default, we shoot everything that is professional in that sort of squarer, taller format.
Yeah.
And then you crop that either way, depending on what deliverable it's going to end up on. And the reason I love that so much is that it gives the control back to the creative in terms of framing and all the rest of it. Two situations that happen all the time. One, I heard a story told by a customer to me the other week where he was booked on a corporate job and they'd hired 2 film crews, one to shoot horizontal and one to shoot vertical. And they didn't talk to each other, completely independent of one another. Like, that's just madness.
Yeah.
And also, I think even if the client has forked up the money to do that, I don't think the clients understand that or really care about that. If they fall in love with one shot that's been done, say that one shot of the model in that situation that they absolutely love, and that's the one that they want.
That's the hero shot.
That's the hero
carry
shot.
The campaign or whatever.
Exactly. Why tie it into one of the formats? They're going to want to use that shot that they fell in love with across their other formats. Yeah. And if we get this into the industry of shooting in this taller master imaging delivery format, not a delivery format, an acquisition format, to say, and then, you know, we just shoot everything with a crop either way. It's not that much of a leap creatively and framing wise to just make sure it looks okay in both of those.
Agreed.
And then we can decide later on.
Yeah.
Now, at the moment, we're getting that with 3x2, which is a little bit taller. It would be helpful if it was a bit taller than that as well. Ideally, square. And that poses a load of other questions about like lens coverage and all these complications that we, as an industry, would have to work through.
That's true.
But you can see the potential in that, and we can emulate a bit of that now by using 3x2 OpenGate, which is fantastic. The other thing in the Apple stream that massively caught my eye is that selfie camera on the iPhones.
The new center stage 18 megapixel square sensor.
Now, this is completely irrelevant to professional work. No one's doing professional work with an iPhone, really, other than some gimmick feature films that might want to use it. Controversial take. Especially using the selfie camera.
The selfie of all things,
But when I saw that pop up on screen last night, I was like, Apple have done what I'm picturing. What we've been talking about. They've just fixed the wrong problem with it. Like that selfie problem of the going to a horizontal selfie and the camera being in the wrong place. Genuine problem for taking selfies. But that same solution can be used
on the rear camera
for our problem
and just
as well.
The main camera sensors that we even delved into. Again, that's a bit of a preview, but just the naming of sensors and what that actually tells us in terms of what we're getting, right? And to the unknown and the uninitiated, you hear medium format and full frame. Which one sounds more relevant or better? It's probably full frame, but we all know just based on...
Full frame sounds like it's full.
Yeah. You know?
That's everything. That's the big one.
So it's like actually the measurement-based way of doing things and the shape way based of doing things, right? It's a better story to know that, oh, okay, this is what I'm getting out of it. Then I know this is the lens coverage I need to go for. This is the lens type I need to go for. This is, you know, the deliverable that I need to be considering for when I'm either putting frame guides on or... And I mean, we go through this with even our internal stuff, you know, Sometimes the guys will come in and be like, hey, we need this for the website. Can you shape it this way?
Why don't you talk about that? Like we had this conversation only a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Should we be once this gets into our hands, we should use this?
That's decided.
And
sorry to say,
we should treat everything that we do in OpenGate so that we can use it on socials, right?
Because you see, there's still a place for the C80 and the C400 that we've got, because the creative choice of using, let's just say, our auto cue and still being able to expose ND for outdoors or indoors, that convenience with the 10 stacks of NDs really helps with the C80 and the C400. But when we're doing the product shots and the B-rolls, that's way more controlled. We're not doing that necessarily too much because there isn't an auto cue or thing that needs to be in front. So if we're having to ND even indoors, where we find ourselves in certain situations or outdoors, that's the perfect camera.
Yeah.
You know, we put the frame guides on, we consider it for horizontal, the extra height is already given, that consideration's there.
Yeah.
And then whatever, you know, it's not all the time where, oh, we know it's going to a different platform. That could come 3 weeks later. Someone pops in and they say, hey, we need it for here. Can we have it in this shape or that shape? That's where it saves us.
Exactly. Now, the problem with doing that is exactly what Scotty has just pointed out. He says the C50 OpenGate image is beefy, very large. Love having that option, though. The top handle is fantastic. I had to buy a Condor Blue remote button for my C400. It should have had start and stop. Yes, you're right on the C400 top handle. This is a really nice top handle.
Oh, lovely.
On the OpenGate being beefy, that is something that I think I'd really try and convince Canon to add to this in firmware. If I was going to get them to add one thing, having a lower quality OpenGate mode that is smaller file sizes, maybe that can be run up to higher frame rates like 60p, 50p, and that, you know, it doesn't have to be the absolute cream of the crop in terms of quality. It can be their line skipped 4K and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just needs to exist.
Yeah. Because
at the moment, you can shoot that OpenGate in RAW, or luckily they gave us XF HEVC-S, which is great, but it's still 7K 3x2, which is 6,912 by 4,608 pixels. So it's big in resolution. And that is 1,350 megabits a second for 25p.
And I think
that's chunky.
I think the only way you conserve storage there is if you go down to 420 rather than 422, and I think it's around 386 megabits per second. But that's still asking a little bit. You know, once you're pushing above 200 megabits, in my opinion, there's a bit of storage consideration that you have to have that you're working with. I mean, if you take how we would use it, for example, I think we would probably swap over to it for the B-roll rather than the piece to cameras and stuff. So we'd be getting up with short clips of it rather than the big, long 20-minute, half an hour takes or whatever. Because then you're more likely to want to use them in the multiple aspect ratios. But that is something that needs to be sort of fleshed out a little bit. And it's also interesting. We kind of made a educated guess that maybe that's why the C80 is having a bit of a pause on getting OpenGate, because it definitely won't be able to do it in RAW. The V90 cards,
but even 1,350, that's bigger files than anything else they're sending to SD cards.
Because I think as an educated guess, SD cards, the max V90s can push up to like maybe somewhere around 600 to 800 megabits per second. It's around there. So that's anything above that is just a lot to consider, and that's what we mean about. That's what the CF Express Type B gives you in terms of a win.
Yep.
You know.
Exactly. Bankole says, will that C50 XLR handle with the zoom controls work on the C400? The C400 desperately needs top handle zoom controls. It is the same MI shoot connector underneath it, but they'll need to update the firmware for it to work. It's not intended to work, and so it won't work straight. You know, I can't pull a C400 from next door and just slot it on and it will work straight away. It will need firmware because there's more going on in there. But it's a good question. They don't sell it separately. And the interesting point that has come up right from two separate people watching this now is how much better this top handle is than what Canon were doing previously. It's a really nice top handle.
Called it straight away when you were out and feel that, dude, it's not just the complete circular design of it in terms of it's a complete handle. but it's the different multi-mounting points. The shotgun mount can be removed,
which it is off now.
Yeah, for space saving, if you're considering saving more space, so much better. Or also just preventative damage. Right, that's one thing. And then of course the extra hot shoe at the top if you wanted to mount other microphones on there for redundancy, if you wanted to capture, because some of the other handles don't have that. So once you've taken that off, there isn't a replacement. And of course,
it's like the Tascam thing, which has it, but then it's through a weaker connection point. And
just doesn't
do you really want to hang extra stuff off the top of that?
Yeah, and then of course record button and the zoom rocker. It's a really good handle. And
it's really comfy.
Yeah.
It's really comfy to use. Okay, let's talk about the Nikon. Patrick, who used to work here, says, hello, have we spoke about the Nikon Red yet?
Yes, Patrick.
This camera, we did not have long with it.
None.
I so enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah.
It's a nice camera to use.
Yeah.
I'm surprised on launch day how Marmite the camera seems to be amongst those that have played with it.
Yeah.
There's some really big criticisms of it, which I was not expecting. I knew some things on it wouldn't go down massively well, but, you know, I was expecting a lot more love across the board for it. Some people absolutely love it.
Yeah.
The reason I say it was so lovely to use, that screen, oh my God, like that is the best on-camera monitor I've ever used.
Yeah, facts.
It's lovely. And on a small little camera like that, that's where you want it. The other thing is the image quality. I was so impressed by the image out of it.
Yeah.
You could feel it while using it as well. Like, does it have the most dynamic range in the industry? No. But it has a bit of that red magic in terms of colors and the DNA. It really felt nice looking at the footage and working with it. The other thing's 32-bit flow. Why is nobody talking about this more?
I didn't believe them. I kid you not, because credit to the other brands. Lumix obviously did it with the GH7 and I believe 6, and it's all based on the XLR2 handle. But that's still, although internal, it's needed an external device to enable that, which is still a great external device to enable. But when they said it's actually truly embedded through the built-in microphones and the 3.5 and the multi-interface shoe that they finally introduced, wow. Wow. That is, again, that thing I talk about, that you can have that generational leap in specs and performance, but usability. That's a massive tick. That's a massive tick. So massive credit to them for making that happen.
Absolutely. I'm very curious, by the way, to hear what everyone watching this thinks of the two cameras. You know, what do you think one versus another? What do you think Canon have got right and what do you think Canon have got wrong? What do you think Nikon have got right and what do you think Nikon have got wrong? Do you think the ZR is a red camera? That's the bit that I'm interested in. Does that like, red's always been a very aspirational, it's a sexy kind of camera brand. Does the ZR have that magic for people? That I'm very curious by. Now, I rewind a couple of days waiting for these videos to be launched. I was really struggling, and we were having lots of chats backwards and forwards about this, about which way the wind would blow. You know, being launched one after another, it's hard not to pit them against each other. Which way are people going to lean in terms of the overall online reception? And it was so 50-50. It was really hard. They've each got very clear strengths and weaknesses. We honestly
couldn't call it. We couldn't.
I did a very interesting little post and poll on our YouTube channel in our community text posts, which just said, these both been launched, both are incredibly good. Which one do you think? Do you vote for, which one do you think you prefer from what you've seen so far? The C50 with 7K 60p, OpenGate 3x2 and an XLR top panel, or the Nikon ZR with 6K R3D, 4-inch touchscreen and 32-bit flow audio. 120 people have now voted on that, which is a nice little sample pool to pull from. And the C50 has got 62% of the votes versus 38% for the Nikon. Which, considering we were so 50-50.
We're 50-50. I honestly, between me
I'm
and you,
amazed by.
Usually I feel like we're quite experienced enough to be able to call it. We just couldn't.
Really couldn't.
We really couldn't.
So I think this sums up the problem. Scotty says the ZR overheats. SD and mini SDs, crazy. So it's not SD cards, is it? CF Express.
So the main card for the one slot is CF Express Type B. So, and then the micro SD is kind of like redundant for the 8-bit recording.
Why does it have a micro SD card slot? I think we can all agree what's a micro SD card slot doing there. People seem to be reacting though as if this is a two camera slot one with two different slots in the same way as the Nikon ones are, right? I wouldn't think about it like that. No. This is a single memory card slot camera, but it's the right memory slot. Yeah. It's CF Express Type B.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think the other problem with this camera and the reason that it's maybe been a bit more Marmite-y at launch is just simply the style of camera that it is.
Yeah.
It's the first time we've seen this Red and Nikon collaboration properly.
Finally.
And Nikon are known for their big, chunky, professional sort of. I always describe these as feeling like a power tool in the camera world.
Yeah.
They're known for that. And Red is obviously known for Red cameras and the cinema box modular cinematic style that they sort of invented, really. And this is neither of those two things. No. So I think it's just come completely left field for people. And Nikon have been very transparent that this is the first entry-level camera in their Z Cinema lineup, implying that there are more cameras to come in this Z Cinema lineup and that they're all going to be positioned above this. And so if you try and think of as them, I'm designing a Z Cinema lineup and I want to make this entry-level small one, what would you do? You'd make let's pack as much power and image quality as we can into as smaller, tiny pocket camera as it can. In some ways, I don't think this camera really competes with the C50 or the FX3.
The FX30, the 3, the 2s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is a Blackmagic Pocket camera, and I mean the original
when it was an actual pocket camera,
not the 4K and the 6Ks and everything.
Yeah, 6K Pros.
Or the Sigma FP.
Yeah.
That kind of very small.
I didn't actually think about it,
camera.
FP, but you saying it is true.
I think that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to make the cinema camera for the people who want to use it like that, handheld as it is.
Yep.
And when they've been explaining it to us and stuff, they kept leaning into that this is a camera that you don't need to connect much stuff to it, because look how good we've made the internal mics. Look how good and massive the on-screen display is on the back. Look at all this connection that's built into it and how well it communicates with the iPhone thing, so that you can go and stream and connect it to cloud workflows and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
They don't really want you hanging lots of stuff off of this.
No.
I think this is a tool for the professional to take everywhere with them. It's that kind of camera. It's very interesting.
You can stick it in some of the most unique, awkward positions while still getting that kind of image quality and maybe the sound out of it that you might not have the luxury to capture on there. So it becomes not just super high quality, but it's like super high quality scratch, but can probably still be usable in some unique ways. So seeing it for that, and I mean, when they say entry level, Carl, I tell you, look, the price, 2,100 ink VAT is,
because think of what the camera can do.
Yeah, it almost makes you forget and forgive certain, odd, I wouldn't say frustrations, but odd claims or things you put it against.
I would say frustrations, right?
Yeah,
it's got a micro HDMI.
Yeah.
It's got a micro SD card slot.
Yeah, we can
and the
agree on
SD card slots and the CF Express slot is on the bottom by the battery. It's not a good place to put it. And the design of it is minimal. You know, it doesn't have a grip. It doesn't have lots of buttons on it. It's got those 3 function buttons on the top and a very flat design. So that kind of body design is a little frustrating to use. There's a reason all their other cameras are like that.
Yeah.
Right? But they've done that for a reason. They haven't done that on accident or just messed up by doing it. They were trying to make as small a compacted camera as they possibly could, because they know what's coming next. We don't know what's coming next. They do. And so, yes, because we're all itching for what might be coming bigger in the lineup, which we can only guess and speculate about. But I think that's the camera that the industry wants from Nikon and Red and Z Cinema. Whereas this is the camera that they've given us. And it is a good camera. I think all of the frustrations that people are having on launch day with it are because they want that next one. Whereas they've got this one. I think if they'd done that next one first and then this one, this would be heralded as, oh, look at everything that they put in this tiny body. This is amazing.
True, it's a reverse.
It's just because we haven't got that other one yet.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a perception thing, I think.
And I think you can akin it to like a very high-end, very good appetizer.
Yeah.
It's like that. And that's always going to get you because you're like, oh, this appetizer tastes so good, but where's the main?
Yeah.
You know, and we're waiting for the main to come. Well, I think that's really what it feels like.
That being said, I think there is a definite target audience for this where this is their main. Like, if you value size above everything else, which is why you're looking at this kind of mirrorless cameras or the really small cinema cameras like the FX3 and the FX30, the FX2, this new C50, if you're looking at that kind of camera, this is smaller. This is smaller than the mirrorless cameras. This is really lightweight and a dream to use in its solo handheld configuration. It gives you IBIS. It gives you incredible RAW recording in 3 different formats. Incredible, decent frame rates as well. It's 6K 60p. Like, really decent frame rates. Really decent across the board for that price. You know, there's so much this gives you.
Like, man,
and an image that matches Red.
The generation on generation to get this type of performance up to like, and usually back in the day, we're getting this type of performance on a smaller sensor. Yeah. It's full frame.
Yeah.
And it's like up to 6K,
we haven't dropped down to micro four thirds to get the value.
To get the value. It's full frame. It's a new tech-based sensor that's partially stacked. That is ridiculously fast at high resolutions, which back in the day you would have had to go, you know, to a 1-to-1 pixel readout 4K sensor to get that. It's incredible. And again, the Z mount is a dark horse for adaptability. It really is a strong entry point to get people that have invested a lot. And remember, Sony lenses are not just the first-party native. They're third-party support. There's some unique lenses that just switch around everywhere, whether it's zero distortion lenses from Laowa to, you know, your standard compact zooms, 28 to 75 from Sigma. There's just such a range. And if you've kind of dipped your finger in to different types of E-mount lenses, whether they're manual focus or not, autofocus or not, you see that that's a sneaky way to get great internal recording options across the board for RAW and your normal acquisition codecs that we're used to with H.265. And just use your lenses and just trickle upgrade when you need.
Absolutely.
That's a sneaky way to get in.
It's a real thing. Like, let's be honest, that there's a lot of Sony users out there in the industry right now. And switching camera brands is always a thing. People have always switched camera brands here, there, and everywhere. And that used to be a bit easier a few years ago as mirrorless mounts were new. Now that mirrorless mounts are much more mature, lots of us have a few lenses by now. And so switching has become harder and harder and harder. And so there will be lots of Sony users out there that might be considering switching that have a lot of E-mount lenses. And this makes Nikon pretty much the only camera brand that you could go to, whether that's the Z8, Z9, Z6 Mark III, or this new Nikon ZR, because, you know, there's lots of good cameras in the Nikon range. That Mega DAP adapter that's 2 millimeters thick, it's crazy. And it gives full autofocus performance. And we've been using it on the Z8 and the Z9 and the Z6 Mark III, and it is good. You know, you're still using an adapter, but it's good.
It's good. I mean, I used it personally for a couple of my stuff, and that was with the 50mm 1.2 GM Marks GM2 lens. And that was on the Z8. Didn't skip a beat. And to be honest, it's so small. the other day we were trying to look for it, and it was attached to one of the lenses.
Didn't even notice it because it was attached to it.
So you're right. You're absolutely right.
And our colleague Liam, of course, uses it a lot in his own kit. He's got a ZA, and he's got the massive Sigma lens that they only make in L mount or E mount.
And that's what you just said is the emphasis of the Sony E mount lenses. It's not even about Sony's first party native. Some of the lenses on the third party side, Sony doesn't even make on their first party side. So the pull of being able to switch when you've got those kind of unique lenses that you've dipped your fingers in and own or rented or borrow from here to here, Nikon now becomes the only system where you can still switch over, enjoy their slew of first party lenses that they've got, which are very good, a great slew of f1.2s that they've got, zooms and whatnot, but you can still enjoy the unique shooting benefits that come with those third party Sony lenses that you either own or rent or borrow from time to time to get a specific feel for your videos. So,
and I think
it's a good place.
That's been very relevant for these cameras, where you'd be swapping your entire camera system over to a full mirrorless system. But for the ZR, yes, some people will do that. But also, I think some people might just add it to their kit as like the cinematic every now and again kind of camera. Because the Sony cameras, they might be really invested in Sony as a workhorse for tool. You've got FX9s, FX6s, a Burano, whatever. Having a ZF in the bag as well is a really nice, different look, much more cinematic, that red style look that you can use all of your native E-mount lenses on and everything like that in this tiny little wedge of a camera. I can really see the appeal in that. I think if I was an FX6, FX9 kind of customer and tied into that for my work, because a lot of customers are, my clients ask me to use FX6, so I'm using FX6. That's tying up a lot of the industry into FX6 right now. I think my eye would be glancing a little bit over to the ZR.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a really interesting camera to have this Megadap E-mount to Z-mount conversion.
100% agree.
Let's get back to questions, because I've let them trail things. Some great ones coming in. Patrick says, I think the C50 is looking more like a workhorse / multi-purpose tool, and the ZR more like your alternative cine-ish folk. Yes, I mean that's always kind of been the case for Red, hasn't it? But yeah, absolutely, the C50 is definitely more of a rounded, documentary kind of workhorse camera. He then goes on to say, hit the nail on the head with the Blackmagic comparison, and do you have false color on the ZR? No, you don't. That is something I would absolutely love to see them add. It was one of my, how much I rave about false color.
Oh, same. I'm a false color convert now as well. So it makes a difference. We did call it for, again, the generational leap in usability is something that has to be considered, and the ones that are doing that as well in terms of, good external monitoring options and monitoring performance without losing either AF performance or coverage or your on-screen display stuff coming over. And your assist tools, like you said, it's not necessarily about this particular assist tool is better than the other. No, just give me all of them. I'll decide which one is fastest for my workflow. Maybe false color isn't fast for a particular situation, but when I'm exposing for interviews for our skin tones and stuff like that, where it's more controlled, that's what we want. But just give it to us. Let us work it. Let us have that option. And it just makes the shooting experience just much more predictable and easier.
Absolutely. I would love to see them at it. David says, I'm having trouble understanding the OpenGate use case on the C50. Is it just in 7K? No downsampled 3x2? No, it is just in 7K. So that there's three options. There's XF HEVC, so they're H.265 codec, but it is the full normal XF HEVC, the same as you'd get on the C80 or the C400 in 4K. And that's the first time we've seen that in a resolution above 4K. So that is really big news. I was so happy to see that in there.
Love seeing that.
Or Canon RAW in light or standard, so not HQ, but ST. Those are the only three options. if I were to guess, I would hazard a guess that Canon, when designing it, were having anamorphic more in mind than they were having this sort of multi aspect ratio workflow that we've been talking about, which makes sense why they're just putting the high resolution, high data rate codecs in there, because they're thinking it's anamorphic. It's filmmaking. It's you're okay with it. It's
justifiable,
and it is great for that use case. But for this multi aspect ratio, that's awesome, and there will be times when you want that. But it would be lovely to see something lighter. Whether the resolution's handy, so throttling the resolution right down and really compressing it, I'm all okay with. Get it down to like 500 megabits a second. I think that would be really awesome. But what I think people would really love to see is a 4K. If they can make it downsampled, amazing. But if they have to lose the downsampling, I still think it would be really good to get 4K up to 60p in a more ordinary 200 to 500 megabits a second kind of range. I think that would be really great to see in the 3x2 mode, but at the moment it is not there. It's Sky says, hi, I have a huge question for the C50. Can you use tap to focus in 4K 120? And can you use APS-C lenses on it in full frame mode like the R5C? It's one of my favorite features on the R5C. Great question on the APS-C. I don't have a way of testing that, unfortunately, at the moment. I'm going to test your touch to focus on the 4K 120, though. Give me a second to get the... Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can, because I'm pretty sure I was doing it on the shoot.
I think all the autofocus features worked even in the 4K 120.
Autofocus definitely worked, but yes, I can touch... I can't record, I haven't got a card in the camera, but I'm touching to focus in the slow and fast mode in 4K 120. And it's working fine. So I think it does.
Great.
Which is good. Sabo says, is there any crucial reason to switch from the R5C to the C50? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Comparing to R5C, is the C50 an upgrade or a downgrade? Just on that comment, now looking at the lineup now that both exist, I think they sit alongside each other. Obviously, the C50's got a few tricks up its sleeve because it's so new. But I think they're designed to sit alongside each other a little bit. They're both hybrid UI cameras where they have both the Cinema EOS UI and the photo UI so that they're good at doing both jobs. But the R5C is a photo-first version of that, whereas this is a video-first version of that. Yeah. So it depends... do you do 75% of your income comes from video, or does 75% of your income come from photo? And that's the way that you split it. You fell in love with the R5C after starting to work here.
I've fallen in love with both. This is like picking your favorite child. I don't think this question's fair, especially for me, because I get slated for this for good reason. My sensible hat says how the lineup is. The C50 is just much more of the better video camera as a complete totality of the body, the HDMI, the sheer amount of buttons, the ergonomics, the improved active cooling as if it needed to, but give us more of an improved active cooling, the multi-interface shoe with the new top handle. As a totality, as a video camera first, the C50 will just be a much better place to be. It just will be. And with OpenGate as well, out of the gate, and just the potential headroom on the platform that we don't know about until we see whatever firmware updates that they hit us with, it is the C50. But I have to still give props to the R5C with the caveat of the updates and the LP6MP battery. That just helped the camera just completely come alive again. And there's certain things you can't change, which we're always frustrated about with micro HDMI. And of course, like you said, it is a photo hybrid first, even with the Cinema EOS menu. Yeah. But the image out of that camera, hats off to it, is underratedly good.
It's really good.
So there's that aspect as well.
Absolutely. Scotty says Red is the only company that I thought about switching to. I think Scotty is a Sony user. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scotty. Red is the only company that I've thought about, presumably means swapping to, besides Canon. The ZR is weak feel bad for the passionate Red fans. This is wet socks. Oh no.
Ooh.
I could not disagree more.
Yeah, I disagree.
And that's great. Difference of opinion.
Yeah.
I do think people are waiting for a different style of camera for them. But just taking it as what it is, I really like the Nikon.
Yeah, same. I do.
I don't think it's a super professional workhorse that you can just do run your entire business off and do absolutely everything with. But as a camera that sets out to achieve what it tries to do by cramming as much cinematic image quality into as tiny a body as it possibly can, I think it's the best camera that has achieved that we've ever seen. Yeah. And I think that's a cool camera to exist on the market.
Yeah,
I don't understand the hate.
I don't either. Considerations, frustrations, yes, but hate, no. I think it pushes the needle forward big time in a very underrated way from the jump. It pushes the needle. Like, it pushes the needle forward where the 32-bit float one, I almost thought that's an impossibility to achieve that so quickly at the stage. That's something I felt like, okay, we're probably going to have to wait another 2-3 years to see it internally.
It's a huge deal.
Huge.
And actually, if you just take what you do, right, outside of work here at ProRes, you are a tech YouTuber. It's a great camera for that.
Dude.
Flip that screen around, you've got a 4-inch monitor. You're recording in Red RAW, R3D, and, you know, that was a bit of a trend for a while, the big YouTubers shooting on Red. Like, amazing looking pictures out of such a tiny little thing. Yes, there's no active fan for like long run times, but we haven't seen many reports yet of it overheating. No, surprisingly few, considering how thin it is with no tools and good battery life as well.
I could have done with it away in the weekend in Berlin. I'm not just saying that to say that.
Yeah, it's a great point.
But like recording those type of vlog style day in the life throughout the whole day, where it's a genuine 12-hour day I'm doing, and I'm panning and moving and this and that, a fast sensor readout that I don't have to have an external mic, and it's 32-bit float.
32-bit flying.
Dude, it's not to be understated how much that pushes the needle forward in usability.
We use 32-bit float in our work here. Did you use it before coming here?
Oh yeah, so I was in on the Red Wireless Pro, because again, it's like you're a solo shooter. Don't trust yourself to remember everything.
How much did it change your moving to that?
I can't, for my peace of mind, not just in studio, but especially when I'm out in the wild, not having it scares me. Yeah. I'm not over exaggerating. Worst thing, you can come back after you've had a long day of just, you know, spontaneous or in the moment moments of just capturing stuff, to hear that if your audio has just gone wrong for some reason, you can still pull it back. You know, and it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
To me, it's just meant that we don't have to think about audio levels. We don't have to do that sound test before we start recording a piece to camera or something like that, where we're going up and down a little bit and trying to second guess where it's going to sound the absolute best. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Just normalize audio.
And you're going to get that on this camera no matter what your audio workflow is. If you're taking a wireless mic into the 3.5mm, if you've got the little thing, if you're using the on-camera microphones, if you've got the XLR thing that comes out from Tascam with full-on shotgun microphones going into the XLR ports, none of it matters. You have that 32-bit float. And, you know, the way we're using it with Rode Wireless Pros, Hollylands, the Sennheiser profile mics, all of those ways of recording it externally, you then have to sync all the files back up in post. Don't have to do any of that with the Nikon. It is all there inside the video file, whether you're in Red, R3D, Nikon RAW, ProRes RAW, ProRes, H.265. It's embedded into the video file in all of those. It's such a big deal. I don't understand why the internet hasn't gone alight for that, because it's the first time we've ever seen that in a camera.
When we did that with the S1 II, with the XLR2, again, it was my first time seeing that, and my thought was, okay, this is going to be some janky process of it goes here and it does this somewhere, you have to grab. No, it was just all embedded. It was automatically normalized, and we didn't even need to normalize. I just said, I've had to do no work. this is a level of peace of mind I will live for.
Yep, absolutely. As Robbie says here, definitely hope every manufacturer starts implementing it. It is as simple as that. I would love to see it on every single camera.
Yep.
You know, that would be amazing. Robbie asks, how would you say the experience is adapting Sony lenses to Nikon? Is it as close to a native experience, or is it more like a compromise? Obviously, every adapter is going to be more of a compromise than the native experience, but I don't think it's that far off.
No. And I can speak from my personal experience that the raw piece to camera take, the Z8 was the second camera, and that was adapted to the 50mm GM f1.2, and scrubbing through, it did not skip a beat. The box was on my eye. It was just, and that's a much more simpler situation, I guess, right? We can't account for sports situations. Let's just say if you're at a Formula One race or a football tournament, or I can't account for those things. But as in my personal experience, it did not skip a beat. And it almost still fascinates me because you have this perceived mindset of how an adapter should be, and man, the technology's just moved forward. It really has.
Clarito says Sony should include a new codec or internal ProRes RAW for the FX6. Sony are now the only major brand that don't have an internal RAW codec. That's true.
Even Fuji with their XH2 series had it ProRes RAW internal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a shame.
That is a shame.
That's a shame.
All we can say, really. That's a shame.
It's a shame.
XOCN?
Not that the FX6 isn't a great camera. It's a workhorse. So like, the industry runs on FX6s, but yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. Scotty says the 2-file option on the C50 is great. Send a vertical to the SD card. It's not an SD card. Oh, is it a vertical to the SD card? Yes, sorry. And the main shot to the CFast-B. That's pretty nuts. Absolutely. Now,
the dual crop.
The dual crop.
Yes.
When we first heard about this, we thought it was inside the open gate. So we thought you could be shooting the open gate, shoot full open gate to one, and then the vertical from that open gate to the other. Yeah. It's not, sadly. No, it is only inside
the standard full frame mode.
Exactly, the 16:9. Yeah. So that vertical crop doesn't use any of the
taller aspect of the sensor.
Exactly. It's just a crop out of thing. You can move the box around, which is really nice. But it is just out of the 16:9. So again, that could be a real benefit of adding this easier, more lightweight 3x2 open gate thing.
Yeah,
that might be
power that enables
what makes that happen.
That makes that happen. Because again, there's 4 sensor modes you're picking from, which is now obviously full frame 3x2.
Yep.
Then the full frame, which is 16:9 or 17:9, and you've got the S35 and S16 with the Super 16. So yeah, I think you are onto another good one there, man.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I don't think we talked about at all yet, was the Sigma lens.
Dude.
Yeah. So now we've known about this for ages. They've been teasing this for ages. They've been showing it at trade shows all the time. This cinema zoom.
Yeah.
What actual focal lens is it? It's a 28 to 45 T2.0, so T2. Full frame cinema zoom in the same way as they've done with their other cinema zooms that has full autofocus. So this is the first product in their AF Cine line up, which implies that they're going to do more. If they did small cinema primes in this AF Cine, that would be... I would love to see a full lineup of autofocus cinema glass.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time we've ever seen this. And just today, Sigma have announced when this is coming. It's coming in November. It's finally here. It's actually happening and shipping. You can buy this rather than just being a technology that people have shown off. So this is only available in L mount and E mount currently, but this gives you everything that you would expect from a cinema lens.
Yeah.
And it feels like a cinema lens with really nice manual focus.
The markings,
And then you can just flick the autofocus switch and it's an autofocus lens.
Insane.
Like, it's like it disengages that front thing, and it feels like before I tried it, I thought it was going to feel compromised in one or the other. it really doesn't seem to be. It seems to be just as good a manual cinema lens as it is an autofocus lens. And in today's current landscape of cameras, that's a massive missing piece of the puzzle, I think. Everyone loves the quality and the style and the aesthetics that cinema lenses bring. And obviously the workflow with adding things to it, adding focus gears, all the rest of it. But autofocus has become such an important part of what we do day in, day out. And if you're going to invest the sort of money that you have to invest into cinema lenses as a professional working tool, having that extra tick box of, oh, I can also use it on this thing that I need autofocus for, is just so revolutionary.
I akin it to a situation where if, let's just say, you needed to shoot a high-end, let's just say, Netflix documentary, right, an interview-based documentary, something that comes to mind is like Michael Jordan's Last Dance, right? It's a high-end cinematic sit-down multi-camera piece. You can use such lenses in that capacity for autofocus, right? But then if you would then not have to get a separate set lens for being in a small crew where you're maybe needing, first CC that's pulling focus for you, right? It fits that. You don't need a separate set. So there's a cost saving and a duality there.
Massive.
That not just works well, but works really well, where it's like, it is literally...
And you get the same image quality on both jobs.
It, the consistency. So Sigma on a roll. They're on a roll.
It's a really... It has the potential to really, really shake up the industry. That's why I wanted to do this stream. This last 24 hours, we've all been waiting for ProRes RAW into DaVinci for so long. Two massive camera releases that we've been waiting for so long. That Sigma, that revolutionizing cine lenses by adding autofocus into them, massive deal, and we now finally know when we can actually, and how much it's going to cost and all the rest of it. Like, a square sensor. Finally, a square sensor. I mean, sure, it's in an iPhone selfie camera and pretty much useless for any professional work, but the first camera sensor that's square has come along in the modern world.
Oh, man.
Such a crazy 24 hours.
Yep.
A couple of questions before we round up. Rashid says, great video on the C50. Thank you. Are you looping the timeline in the video in the background on Resolve? That's a mixture of this is C50, and then it's a mixture of clips from our Nikon one as well to play fair between the two. So it's a mixture of both on there. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. We both worked incredibly hard on that. Ben did some great stuff on that video.
Yeah, we did a lot of good work there.
Sabo says that C50 doesn't have IBIS. I maybe understand, but bringing at the same time a lens with like 85mm f1.4 without IS is a bad move in my opinion. Ooh, okay. Two things to break down there. Firstly, the lens. The 85 is part of that VCM lineup of hybrid lenses.
Love those lenses.
This is one of them here. These are very much designed to be matching lenses. The image matches, the size matches. There's slight differences in the weight, but the filter threads, the physical design.
I love these lenses.
They are a matching set of lenses, like we would see from cinema primes, for example, rather than more their ordinary f1.2 ordinary RF stills lenses, or what Sony do with G Master or Sigma are doing, or any of those other brands, where you get much more variation between each focal length. On the VCMs, they're purposefully trying to keep it as a consistent set, which for video is amazing. But yes, you're right. When you look at individual lenses, that means that normally an 85mm f1.4 would maybe be a little bit bigger, so that it can have things like IS and stuff in it, whereas here they're trying not to. So I kind of agree, but then if you're just looking at the 85mm by itself, I agree. But if you're looking at the lenses as a range, I'm so glad the VCM range exists.
Oh, I love it.
Like, that's everything I want from
from the 20mm all the way up to this one. It's just it's great.
IBIS in the camera. So we are going to do a video and work on putting this side by side with a camera with IBIS, maybe the FX3, for example, something like that, and comparing the stabilization that Canon have to what we're used to with IBIS on the FX3, and what people are saying that they think is missing from this. Because it's a really interesting narrative.
Yeah.
Because Canon aren't saying, oh, you know, we couldn't fit IBIS in, never mind, there's a compromise somewhere. They're saying they didn't want to put IBIS in here because they say IBIS is a stills technology. It's not suitable for professional video work. It's going to introduce unintended effects. And they don't want a floating sensor inside a pro video body. They prefer to have lens IS, which they are very good at adding lens IS to the RF lenses normally. Take their 24-70 f2.8, for example, has really nice IS in it, whereas the other brands nearly all don't. And they've got the 24-105 f2.8 that also has really nice IS, and the 70-200, all the rest of it. So they're a big believer in lens IS, and also they're a big believer in this digital image stabilizing system, digital IS, EIS they're calling it. I think trying to get away from the word digital in it, because I think that puts people off. Digital IS is in a lot of other cameras, and in lots of cameras it's bad. Yeah. It's just bad. It's bad. In the Canon it's not bad. We used it a lot in that video, and it's good. I can't see any problems with it. Now, what I'm really curious to find out is if you put it side by side with an IBIS sensor, which one looks better? Because we would all assume IBIS looks better for a classic, you know, your classic FX3 shot of, oh, I'm handheld like that. I did lots of that in that video, and it looked good.
It looked good.
And I'm curious to put it to the test. Are they comparable? Is the Canon better?
I think they're more than comparable. And here's my take, and it's just been my observation since, especially being very close to using cameras regularly like the R5C. I think because of the lack of IBIS, the calculations that they do with their digital IS, their EIS, seems to be much more accurate because they're not having to compensate for an inbuilt IBIS sensor fighting it as well while it's trying to calculate. It's a truly locked sensor. Yeah. And because they've got a quality controlled lens IS system, when it's working with the lens IS system with the digital communication,
it knows what the lens IS is doing.
I kid you not, blew my mind when I was using it. When I was using it with the 50mm 1.2, and it blew my mind. So I think it's a very calculated decision that people don't understand how well it is until you're lucky and fortunate enough to use it, which, mind you, I came with that same preconceived notion that this is a disaster. Cameras like this don't have an IBIS, regardless of whether you're making them cinema first or not. Kind of need it. Nah, and I can't wait for us to kind of do that, to educate people that there's no one perfect system with IBIS or not, but the decision going without it would shock you just how well it works.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's going to be better than IBIS. It might not be better than IBIS. I don't know. But I definitely think it's wrong to dismiss the stabilization that's in it just because it's not that other one that you were using. It still stabilizes your footage for you. And until we see them side by side, I actually don't know which one is going to look better.
I'm a bit more confident in the Canon system than I thought I would be, but that's also, again, come from my own user experience.
Yeah,
with the other
anecdotally, we've both been very impressed.
Yeah,
very impressed.
Very.
Huang says, overheating test on the new Nikon ZR. Yeah, we did. We had hours with the camera, so we didn't have long enough to really make what we made, let alone try and do any overheating tests.
Stay tuned for later, maybe.
Again, anecdotally, I've heard people have really struggled to get it to overheat.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. That's what we want.
People have struggled to get it to run out of battery. Which I'm incredibly surprised by, because those Nikon batteries, they're fine, but you know, they're not amazing. They're not some revolutionary, really good. It uses the exact same batteries as all the others. That would be really interesting to actually, until I see that for myself. I'm finding it hard to believe in a camera that's that thin, that's that powerful with no active fan, but people seem to be really struggling to get it to overheat. So that's
what we want. That's good.
It's good news.
It's good news.
Kuba says, do you know if the C400 will also be limited to 30 frames a second in open gate? It's a fantastic question. We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know when I haven't actually seen when the firmware update's coming out, but we've got a C400 here. When it comes out,
we'll do coverage. We'll do short forms or
probably do a short form on it to let you know what modes there are.
All over that.
That's a good idea. Right, let's wrap up there.
Yeah.
I think all need a nap before we go to IBC. It's just been a roller coaster the last, and you know we haven't even talked about everything there at all. We've just talked about the big
Sigma's 35mm 1.2 Mark II refresh. It's not
Nanlux
DGDN.
just did these bigger Vogue lights that we covered.
Oh,
there's a new red camera. There's new lenses.
Yep.
There is a huge amount of people going on at the moment. Obviously, in the run up to IBC, there would be. But yeah, it really seems. Scotty says that he's heard December for the C400 update. That makes sense.
Okay.
That's why we haven't seen it yet. Fantastic. Thank you, Scotty. So yeah, well, I'm sure we will see lots more at IBC. We'll be covering all of that as we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for chatting, letting us get it all off our chest.
Thanks for letting us. This is our first time we've done it together as a duo, so maybe more of this impromptu ones or structured ones, but I think we pulled it off well. Thanks for having us, guys. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks very much. Let us know what you think of this down below. See you soon.